Period. Abby would like to see the University of West Georgia in the fall and major in nursing. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Abby Fowler. We would like to thank our seniors for all they've done and will continue to do for our school. We wish them all the best of luck and pray that God will watch over them in all that they do. Let's give our seniors a round of applause. We'd like to introduce our referee and umpires for tonight. Referee Phil Powell, umpire Jimmy Payne, head linesman Russell Quincy, line judge Chris Walford, field judge Todd Barr, side judge Terry Cole, and clock operator Jim Young, and plate box Matt Hicks. Also, we'd like to announce the National Final Pond is presenting the Craig Reese Memorial race October 28, 2017 at the Boyd Speedway race. Ringo race again at 7 p.m. $3,500 is placed in memory of Mr. Craig Reese. Join our 2007. Also, we'd like to put the line mark.
No, we can't. That's okay. We enjoyed it before, as long as you weren't doing something you shouldn't do, like whatever. We are ready when you are.
Not bringing my jacket with me. It was so hot this afternoon, it just didn't seem possible to get cold, did it?
Thank you, Randy, and hello again, everybody, and welcome to another night of high school football in Northwest Georgia. Tonight's broadcast is coming to you live from the Lions Den up at Christian Heritage. And for those folks who cannot attend tonight's game and want to listen to it on the radio, you can go to www.wlaq1410.com or download the TuneIn app, TUNEIN, TuneIn app on your mobile device and find WLAQ 1410, and you will be able to listen to tonight's game. And for those wanting to watch the live stream, go to darlingtonschool.org, go to the athletics tab, and you will be able to go down to the live stream broadcast from the athletics tab. Also, you can go to YouTube, R. Swiger, R-S-W-I-G-E-R, number 1, and you can find the Darlington live stream broadcast there. Again, I'm Steve Conrad. I'm here tonight with Eddie Evans, and as mentioned before, we're coming to you from the Lions Den at Christian Heritage High School in Dalton, Georgia. And Eddie, we got a beautiful setting tonight, a beautiful fall evening, nice and cool. And we're up on the press box, and boy, what a great view up here of the Christian Heritage campus.
Well, it is a good view, and as I standing right over a speaker. I haven't heard music this loud since I was in Athens hanging around at some of the clubs there when I enjoyed music this loud. We're right over the speaker. This is we got Christian Heritage, who's suffering a long season, 1-6. It's their sole victory for this year, and of course Darlington
comes in tonight 5-3, as you said, Eddie, 4-1 in Region 6A. The Tigers victorious in a thrilling win at Chris Hunter Stadium last week. We had the controversial play where 1 second was put back on the clock. Both of these teams come in going in somewhat, and they did not play any games in 2011. They have played a varsity schedule every year since then. Overall, they're 27-35. Darlington has played Christian Heritage 4 times. Hunter Stadium in the playoffs. So out by Darlington. Christian Heritage is really struggling. They were 1-9 last year, and they also are only have 1 win this year. So they're really struggling to put together some continuity.
Well, they are struggling, and it's they've got we were talking about this earlier. They've got 156 students here, and they've got 41 playing football. So they've got a good turnout for football, but they do struggle with the size of their enrollment right now. So they're just they're less than half the size of Darlington. Matter of fact, almost 1.5 times smaller than Darlington is. So they struggle with being able to draw as many athletes from the student body, and it's just shown this year.
Yeah, in fact, the Lions.
Mightily.
Yes, absolutely, and the Lions actually have the lowest enrollment in the grades 9 through 12 of any school in Region 6A, counting both subregions. So they really struggle a lot. They've also struggled offensively. To compare the two teams, Darlington is averaging 30.4 points per game. Heritage is averaging 11. Tigers give up 20.8 points per game on defense, but Christian Heritage gives up a whopping 37.1 points per game. So they've really struggled to move the ball effectively and score, but they've also struggled mightily to hold anybody in check.
Well, I expect Darlington to try to come out swinging quick, and they may even take the ball. If they win the toss, they usually defer, but they may even take it to just get scoring started and get this put away, get their starters out. And they'll have 2 weeks to get ready for whomever their opponent is in the play-in game. So I look for Darlington to try to jump early.
Oh, absolutely. It has been a long season up to this point without a bye week in a long, long time. So Darlington has had 9 consecutive weeks of playing football. So it'll be nice to have that off week. Then we have the play-in game. Just a couple of other things of interest, and this shows you that Christian Heritage struggles to run the ball. Their leading rusher has 281 yards rushing this year. Matthew Neff, their quarterback, he's a junior. He has 1,115 yards passing, so they're going to move the ball through the air if possible against the Darlington defense. To put that in perspective, Tajay Watley has 1,037 rushing yards as the leading rusher for Darlington this year. So Darlington and Christian Heritage try to move the ball differently.
What do you think the odds are we're going to see the Lonesome Polecat like we did North Cobb Christian trotted out? Of course, you weren't there at the game, but the formation I've only seen live, maybe that was probably only the second time I've ever seen a team run it, and I've never seen a team run it the whole game. So we'll
just trying to spread people out and get matchups where you can move the ball. If you're not very big and you can't move people out of the way, you got to figure out ways to move the football. This is not a very good running team, and Darlington, I suspect, will also be able to pound the ball running with Carl Swiger, who has 251 yards rushing, but a whopping 7.17 yards per carry. on each rush.
He's really come up with some big runs at some crucial times, too. In the Trine game, he came up big there towards the end of the game, and he's come up with several big runs. He always seems to get a big run when we need it.
Yeah, and, he was the Honeymoon Bakery icing on the cake player of the game for the Mount Zion game 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago. And, boy, he had a great game against them. He's had a really, really fine senior season.
He has. He's done himself proud, and we've known Carl since he was a Pee Wee football player, and but he's really done a good job and come in here and worked hard.
Other players to watch for the Darlington. He is at quarterback for the 56 completions on 103 attempts this year for 728 yards. Griffin in his sophomore year has grown up every single game. And then, of course, you've got Jacob Hunt, Tinkerbell, Tate Ratledge, Elijah Ball, all playing on the right side of that offensive line when we run a tight end set. And not only can they block, but on defense, they are really, really great on that line.
Well, it's a testament to how good Trine is to that they were able to really make those guys look pretty average last week when they were running the ball. We just struggled to stop Trine. That's a mark of a pretty potent running team.
Yeah, and just looking at a few statistics as we go through the end of our pregame show, Darlington finally has passed its opponents in rushing yardage this year. And, we struggled, especially because we played Ridgeland and Heard County so early. We really struggled to catch up. But Darlington with 1,677 total rushing yards. Tajay has he has 1,037 that total. So he has almost 2/3 by himself. 31 total passing yards. The one thing that I would be concerned about is that Darlington has more penalties and more penalty yards than our opponents.
Well, that's something I know is driving him crazy, and I'm sure they've been working on that. And I'm sure he'll spend a lot of time on that next week during the bye week. This bye week seems to take a long time to get here every year, and it seems like 2 weeks ago maybe we could have used it, but really it's nice that it comes when it does, because we've got an extra week to get ready, a bye week to get ready for the play-in game. I think it comes at a pretty good time, even though it's been a long 9 weeks for some of these players.
You're right, Ed. You get to rest, heal up before the big play-in game, and then heading into the playoffs.
That's right, and I think it's obvious they need the rest. It will do them all some good to have a week off, to just kind of relax and decompress a little bit next week, and get ready for whomever the play-in opponent will be.
All right, glad to have you with us tonight, wherever you are in the world. You're listening and watching via the World Wide Web. We're at the Lions Den, Christian Heritage Lions hosting the Darlington. The captains are coming out onto the field. We're going to send it back to WLAQ for a short commercial break, and then we will come back to announce the captains, the coin toss, and get ready for high school football. Get those chin straps buckled wherever you are, and stay tuned for Darlington Christian Heritage High School football.
Make sure you sign in. All of our elementary students sign in for Elementary Spirit Night. Sign-ups can be made at the front ticket booth.
Gina.
receive. Ladies and gentlemen, on your feet.
Back at the Lions Den in Dalton, Georgia tonight. Captains visiting Darlington Tigers. The captains for tonight's game are Tajay Watley, Joseph Ingram, Carl Swiger, and Austin Rogers. And for the Christian Heritage Lions, Zach Gentry. He's their leading rusher. Matthew Ness, Cummings, Darlington. And so are the Lions off to the Christian Heritage Lions to start tonight's football game. We'll get the picture set for you here. Darlington in their white travel jerseys, purple numerals, white pants, white helmets with purple tiger paws right on your radio dial. And again, the Tigers coming up to Christian Heritage tonight as the visitor. The homestanding Lions, their colors are black, crimson, and gold. They're wearing their black home jerseys with crimson numerals, gold helmets. Their helmets say CH for Christian Heritage. They will be going right to left on your radio dial. They'll be defending the west goal. And Eddie, it's just a beautiful night. No wind, and just a perfect fall evening.
Well, it is a beautiful night. You know, Steve, I'm struck by how to ruin a great color scheme like red and black, add some of that ugly Georgia Tech gold to it, and you can imagine what these Christian Heritage players look like. Just really ruined the red and black.
All right, Darlington will be kicking off, going left to right. Number 18 will tee it up for the Darlington Tigers, Alex Little, and he's going to put the ball on the near hash mark. And Eddie, it looks like he may be doing a long kick. You know, we've been doing some pooch kicks, but he's actually lining up a little deeper. Get ready for high school football. Get those chin straps buckled. We're waiting for the referee to blow his whistle and give the official okie dokie. And as soon as he does that, then we're going to get started here. Alex Little kicking it off. We're about ready. Here we go. Little approaches the ball. Toe meets leather, high end over end kick. It's going to come down to a man at the 8. He's running straight upfield on the near side, and he's got running room, and he's up the far near sideline, and he is going to go all the way for a touchdown. And Eddie, he just came up. That was number 7, Zach Gentry, the junior. He just came straight upfield. Poor kick coverage by the Darlington Tigers. 92-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
Didn't even really have a seam here on the near side. He just weaved his way through there, and then all of a sudden there was nobody to catch him. One man came up, Alex Little came up to try to make the tackle, but he eluded him, and then there was nobody there.
Nobody there at all. And
never touched by
I've
anybody.
never seen a Darlington team do that. That's, you know, sometimes when they pin them on the sideline, it's easier to make that tackle, but the Tigers. Snap is down, it's up, it is good. The holder did a good job on that, and all of a sudden, bang, the Christian Heritage Lions, before we've even gotten settled in here, they're up 7-0.
16 seconds run off the clock. I can't believe it even took that long. I'm not sure how we run that much time off the clock, because it was just a straight sprint down the sidelines. 82 yards.
Yeah, he took the ball, just came straight upfield, and Darlington will have to get settled in. I'm trying to remember the last time Darlington had a kickoff returned for a touchdown against it. I
you
just
know,
can't.
a few years ago, I remember struggling on kickoffs. It's been 5 or 6, 7 years ago at least since we struggled. Kevin Hunt, our special teams coordinator, has pretty much sealed that off. That's one of the first long runs we've seen on Darlington special teams in a long time.
All right, Joseph Dixon, the sophomore, in to kick off to the Darlington Tigers. Tigers trailing 7-0 after 16 seconds. 11:44 to play here in the first quarter. If you just flipped on the live stream or the radio, long kickoff return for a touchdown, 92 yards by the Christian Heritage Lions. Waiting for the official signal here, and there it is. And Dixon is approaching the ball. Toe meets leather. It's going to be an onside kick, and it is falling on before it goes 10 yards by Tommy Atha. And, Eddie, that was a smart play. Don't let that thing go 10 yards if you don't have to, because he got it, and that was it.
Good heads-up play by Tommy.
Darlington.
So proud of him.
Oh, sorry. Darlington will have good field position just inside Christian Heritage territory at the 49-yard line for their first drive of the Tigers. All right. Darlington's line is in there. Jacob Daniel at center. Griffin Brewster, he's in a shotgun formation. Hands the ball to Tajay Wiley, who throws it back to him. Christian, it's a flea flicker, and it's going to be complete. And this is going to be a touchdown for the Tigers. And that was to number 9, Ezra Barnett, a little flea flicker, very similar to the one that Georgia ran against Mississippi State.
Yep, shades of Terry Godwin and Jake Fromm, and just put it down. He was so wide open that nobody picked him up coming out of his wide side of the field over there, and he was just totally alone.
And that's a 49-yard touchdown. And Eddie, here we are with 26 seconds elapsed in the game, and it's 7-6. Little coming in for the point after Jacob Hunt will snap it to Payne. The ball's down, it's up. It is going to be good, and that is going to be
got a flag down.
All right, watch the flag. But right now, if that stands, it'll be 7-7 with 26 seconds elapsed in the game. All right, it is encroachment on Christian Heritage, and
well, no, I decided it was. They didn't decline the penalty; they waived it off. So
yeah,
whatever it was, they decided didn't, in fact, happen.
All right, waved off. Well, we're going to send it back to WLAQ for a 30-second break and get our breaths, and we'll come right back for Darlington's kickoff to Christian Heritage. Be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Back here at the Lions Den, 7-7 if you're just joining us. Bam, bam, 92-yard touchdown on a kickoff by the Lions. And then Darlington on a 49-yard touchdown pass. We've had one offensive play, and we've had 14 points scored. Little is going to kick the ball, end-over-end kick. It's going to come down to a man, Zach Gentry at the 8. He's coming upfield again. Now he's running sideways. He's trying to run to the far side. No, that's a hold right there, Eddie. They didn't get 6. Yeah, now flags are coming in from everywhere, 4 of them. So I guess they saw the same thing you and I did. And but he's going to be knocked out of bounds at the 37-yard line. But I think it's going to be a hold on number 67, Manuel Salisay.
Zach Gentry is a shifty little guy, isn't he? He had me worried there for a minute. We tracked him down. He actually didn't pick up too much after his initial cut over there, but he ended up on the 31-yard line, and they're going to mark it back from the 31, so I get our 32. So I guess he's going to end up on the 22.
Well, 4 referees threw the flag, so I guess that's about as emphatic as you get.
Pretty much unanimous, wasn't it?
All right, holding against Christian Heritage. That will move the ball back to the Christian Heritage 22-yard line on the far hash mark, and the Lions will scrimmage from there. They will be lining up in an I formation with Zach Gentry under center, one wide out to the near side with a fullback and a tailback. Darlington 4 down lineman, and that's going to be a fake to the fullback, and Gentry comes forward for about 2 yards. Eddie, from here, it almost looked like he had fumbled the ball.
Yeah,
and then got it.
Yeah, they were lined up that time, and as Al Serralo used to say, a wing with an eye, and it just came right over there on a belly play, and Darlington didn't have much of it. Lucky to pick up 2 on that one.
2nd down and 8 for the Lions. We're coming to you from Dalton, Georgia tonight. First time we've been up here in a few years, but a beautiful fall evening. And here we'll go with Al Serrado, a wing with an eye, wide out to the near side. And Roth Wilcox is on him. Darlington 4-down lineman, but another man coming up. And Gentry drops the ball, and Darlington falls on it. He was trying to hand it off to somebody, and Kellen Stepp comes in and falls on that football, and the Tigers are going to have really great field position to start their second possession.
Well, he was in there. Kellen was in there to take the handoff, it looked like, for his life. And we make plays like this, and we've got to remember you've got to show the same kind of energy the next time they come up here. And just because maybe you're getting some penetration and able to tackle them in the backfield, you still got to play your cornerbacks and safeties. They've still got to play their position and maintain their coverage.
This is a scrappy team, Christian Heritage, and my recollection of this team is it doesn't matter what the score is, they're always playing hard. And now Jay Pogue, the coach for the Lions, calls a timeout. So timeout on the field with 2:09 to play here in the first quarter. Darlington 13, the Lions 7. We're going to send it back to WLAQ for a 30-second break, and we will come back for more football. Don't go away. Back at the Lions Den, we want to remind you the Honeymoon Bakery icing on the cake player of the game will be announced after tonight's football game, sponsored by the Honeymoon Bakery. We also want to remind you to stay tuned at halftime and after the football game for the halftime and postgame report, sponsored by Steak and Shake on Turner McCall Boulevard in Rome, Georgia. Steak and Shake, steak, burgers, French fries, great milkshakes. You just have a good meal at Steak and Shake. Darlington up 13-7 as the Lions come back on the field. They just used their first timeout. 2 wide outs to the near side with a man in the slot. Gentry rolling over to this side to his left. He's looking downfield. He's trying to get Coleman downfield. Coleman had run out of bounds, Eddie. And so even if he had caught that ball, it would have been an illegal touch. It's incomplete. And now Christian Heritage will have a 3rd down and long.
Really overthrew him. I don't know if there was some kind of miscommunication or if our corner over here just forced him out and forced him to run the route slower, redirected him or something, but they were nowhere close to connecting on that play.
And correction, now it's 4th and long. Christian Heritage with a 4th down and about 15. And number 24 for the Lions, Sid Reese, the junior. He is lined up in punt formation. Tajay Watley at about the 15. The last punt went about 20 yards, and they're going to run a fake. Zach Gentry, he should have thrown that ball. Well, he should have pitched it, and he's trying to get yardage, and he does get about 3 yards to the 40, but the line to make was the 28, and the Darlington Tigers
Well, he actually gained about 35 yards there. Unfortunately for him, it was all horizontal instead of vertical. Ran way across the field, started out to the right, and then came back to our side on the home side of this field and just run down. Had nowhere to go. He's shifty, but he's not that shifty.
Yeah, and Darlington strung it out and then came back to the near side, and now the Tigers are in good shape. 1st and 10 at the Darlington 40. Darlington up 13-7. If you're just joining us, a lot of fireworks to begin with, and then sort of sloppy play since then. Griffin Brewster in a shotgun formation. Tajay is his halfback, 1 wide out to this side, 2 to the far side, and now a whistle has been blown.
I think Brent Bell called a timeout.
And let's see. And the Darlington Tigers have called a timeout. So another timeout on the field here in the first quarter. 1:53 to play. Darlington 13, the Lions 7. We'll send it back to WLAQ for a 30-second break, and then we'll be right back for more football. All right, back here at Christian Heritage, Darlington, Eddie, has used a timeout, their first timeout of the first half. Tigers up 13-7. I must confess, when I was looking at the statistics of the Lions and the Tigers coming into tonight's game, I really believed that this game would be a little different at this point.
Well, certainly we didn't expect a run back for a touchdown on the opening kickoff.
All right, Griffin Brewster hands off to Tajay Watley, and he's going to be stuck.
Well, that defensive end got good penetration out there on that left side of Darlington's line. It was just there to meet him, and he had nowhere to go. That was a good play for Christian Heritage.
And here's a score of interest to Darlington fans. Tryon 10, Mount Zion 7. 2nd and 10 for Darlington. The line to make is the midfield stripe. Tigers up 13-7. If you're just joining us, 10 seconds on the play clock as Griffin Brewster gets everyone put into place. 3 wideouts to the far side. Brewster, he's going to throw complete to a man on the far side on a little screen. That's Ezra Barnett, 50, 45, 40, 35, and he can upend him with another man riding his back, Eddie, but not until he Christian Heritage, and I suppose that's what we'd call a bubble screen.
Middle screen, bubble screen, that was definitely a screen pass. He had blockers out there in front of him and showed a little shifty running on his part and nice yards after the catch.
Good game tonight thus far for Ezra Barnett with 3 touches, and one of them a touchdown. Griffin Brewster fakes it to Tajay Watley. He's going to throw the ball complete down the seam on the far side. And let's see who that ball's to as he's down inside the 10, down to about the 4. And Eddie, can you get a number?
Is it number 4, I think? That was a nice throw by Griffin Brewster. Just a perfect big.
I believe that may be Carl Swiger.
But nice catch, and he put it up there where only he could get it, and like I say, that was a big-time throw by Griffin.
1st and 10 for 1st and goal for Darlington. Handoff to Tajay Watley. He's going to have about a yard down to about. They're doing a great job of bottling up Darlington's running game.
Yes, they are. I expected a little easier time of this running it than they are. They're showing a lot of spirit, and they haven't given up on the coaches, and I believe that's going to do it for the end of the quarter.
It is. That is the end of the first quarter as the horn sounds. So we're going to send it back to WLAQ for a 1-minute commercial break, and we'll come back for Darlington's 2nd down play, 2nd and goal. Tigers 13, Lions 7. Don't go away. Back here at the Lions Den, Darlington has run 10 plays in the first quarter. Christian Heritage ran 16. Eddie, both teams lost one fumble. Christian Heritage has more penalties. And they have the long kickoff return for a touchdown.
Well, we just really let them hang in a lot longer than I thought it would. I thought we'd be up on them by 3 touchdowns at this point.
Brewster, quick pitch to Tajay Watley. He's going to stroll into the end zone on a 3-yard touchdown run. Just quick. And the Tigers extend the lead now to 19-7. And let's see if the Tigers plan to go for 2. It looks like they are.
Darlington did a good job of sealing that edge out there, and really just nobody, when Tajay got out wide, there was nobody left. Good blocking on that outside. I think that might have been Jacob Hunt, tight end, sealing that edge off and just giving him where he could just trot it into the end zone.
Tigers had a 2-point conversion they did not get, and now they're going to run out of this power I. Griffin Brewster, he's going to fake it to Tajay Watley. He's got a man wide open in the end zone, and that is good. I'm trying to get that number.
I believe it's Rhett. Is it Rhett McDermott?
Get it, but that's a 2-point conversion for Darlington, and the Tigers go up 21-7 on a pass 2-point conversion by Griffin Brewster. And I'm looking at the player, Eddie. I still don't see the number. Is that number 12?
I couldn't argue with you because he never did give us a good shot of it. He
Yeah,
kept his
I really
side
couldn't
to us
see.
all the way down.
Can't be 12. Maybe it was Carl Swiger.
I believe it was Rhett McDermott. I believe
Rhett
that was
McDermott?
37,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, let's give it to. You know, it's a nice thing to give something like that. You know, the Rome paper mentioned that Luke Lewis was the one that missed the extra point against Mount Zion. First time he had his name in the paper, but it wasn't Luke. So we'll give Rhett McDermott a little pat on the back here. All right, here we go. Little ready to kick off the football as soon as he gets the signal from the referee.
He really going to push this one short so Gentry can't have a chance at it, I guess.
It's going to be a high end over end kick. It's going to come down to a man at the 28.
He called fair catch.
I thought he called a fair catch, but he's running forward, and he's going to get the ball at about the 34, but it sure looked like it from here, didn't it?
He called fair catch.
Now let's see what the referee is going to do.
They're not going to do anything. They're just putting it down where he ended up.
Yeah, what an odd play. Did look like he called a fair catch. 11:48 to play here in the second quarter. Darlington 21, Christian Heritage 7. And the Lions, they've turned out a lot scrappier than some people expected. So Zach Gentry, the junior, he is under center. He's in a wing I formation. Kronman out to the left. He's going to hand it off to his fullback, and his fullback just bulls his way forward straight up the middle for a gain maybe of about 3. They started at the 34. Let's give him 4. He's out to the 38.
Yeah, that's just a straight up dive right off between the guard and the center to the left side of the line for Christian Heritage.
And the Lions are not going in a hurry. It's to their advantage to kind of move the ball. If they can slow things down, keep Darlington's offense off the field, they still have to be able to score. Kronman out wide, Gentry under center, 2nd down and 6 for Christian Heritage. Gentry rolling here to his right. He's got Tate Ratledge on him and trying to get up under Tate Ratledge. He slipped and fell down. We'll give Ratledge credit for a sack, and it's going to be back to about the 27-yard line, make it 28. So that's a loss of about 10.
Tate is really just coming through there untouched and just really own him. And Zach Gentry doesn't even hardly have time to take a breath before Tate's making that tackle.
Yeah, and the footing for the players tonight is pretty good. It is a artificial surface. There has been no rain here. It's a little damp up here. We can tell with our papers up here on the press box, but a beautiful night for high school football. 2 wideouts to either side. Darlington 3 down linemen. Gentry takes the ball, rolling to his right. He's going to throw a screen pass, and oh, ouch, crash. And that was Kellen's step. he read that, and about the time that the running back got the ball, Stepp got there and smashed him and knocked him down for a loss, and that's going to be a loss, Eddie, of about 6 back to the, make it 7 back to the 21, and it'll be 4th down and long for the Lions.
Started out looking like a well-developed screen pass for them, but the screen of blockers that he had out there in front of his guys forgot to block Kellen Stepp, because he just ran right through them and just blew that play up. Absolutely not fooled a bit.
All right, and we have Casey Gunn deep for Darlington to receive this punt. Punt being kicked by Sid Reese, number 24. He's standing at about his own 8-yard line. High snap, but he gets it down, and he's going to kick the ball. Nice line drive kick. Gunn takes it at the 47. A great tackle, Eddie, by Coleman. And, wow, he is an impressive football player.
Well, you know, you always criticize players for making an arm tackle, but that was a pretty good arm tackle by Coleman that time. Just took him down to the ground. Lucky to get 2 yards out of that return.
Yeah, if Coleman doesn't get him, he's got a nice running lane there in the middle of the field. But I have to tell you, if Coleman played for Darlington, he would be gunning for the Honeymoon Bakery icing on the cake player of the game. He's had a good game so far. Griffin Brewster will be in a shotgun. Darlington with 2 wideouts to the far side and a man on the wing on the near side. And he's going to hand the ball to Tajay Watley, 50. Tajay Watley, 45. Tajay Watley dragged down. Ooh, boy, that looked really dangerous. He's dragged down at about the 42, and a flag comes flying in downfield. Tate Ratledge was blocking someone downfield. Let's see what it is, Eddie.
You know, I noticed they've got Coleman back at, he's the free safety back there. It's kind of unusual to see somebody that tall playing free safety. You're not going to, if it's a jump ball in the end zone, you're going to have a hard time out jumping Coleman.
All right, this is going to be a penalty against Darlington, and it's going to be a big one, and it's going to bring the ball back to the 48-yard line, about a yard from where Darlington started. Was that a hold or a block in the back?
No, it was a hold.
Block in the back. Holding, okay. So holding against Darlington negates a 8-yard run by Tajay Watley. Griffin Brewster under center, and he's going to fake it to Tajay Watley. He's got a man in his face. He escapes him, and he's going to throw the ball complete. That was a really great play. Get that ball from Brewster to Tinkerbell, Eddie, and it was behind Jacob, and he slid down and caught it, and that's going to be a nice gain of about 7 yards, 8 yards for Darlington.
Well, Griffin was almost sacked back there in the backfield and got away and had another guy on him and kind of jumped up in the air and came halfway across his body and put it right on the money to Jacob, a little bit low, but it was an easily catchable ball. Good catch by Jacob. Good play by Griffin.
Gain of 8, 2nd and 4. Hands off Tajay Watley, 40, 35, 30, 25. Touchdown, that's it. Tajay Watley. And, Eddie, that was kind of funny because it looked like Griffin didn't quite get the snap to start
snap
with.
Was
it
high.
Floated.
It floated up high on him, and he had to reach up and bring it down. But it looked like that delay there kind of froze all the linebackers for Christian Heritage, and they just weren't prepared when Tajay come flying through there.
Well, 44-yard touchdown run for Tajay Watley. Little is going to kick the extra point. Payne will hold Jacob Hunt. Tinkerbell will snap it. And here's the snap. It's down, it's up. Payne does a great job. It is good. So Darlington goes to 28-7 over Christian Heritage with 8:09 to play here in the first half. We'll send it back to WLAQ for a commercial break, and we'll be back for more football. Don't go away. And we just got news that Trevor Lawrence has passed Deshaun Watson in total yardage on the record books for high school football players. They stopped the game and gave him the game ball over at Cartersville. So Trevor Lawrence, the Clemson commit, and I'm sure those folks are having a grand time down there in Cartersville. All right, 8:09 to play here. 28-7, and Little will kick for the Tigers as soon as the referee gives him the signal. And there it is. It's going to be a high end-over-end kick. It's going to come down to a man at the 26. He's going to run forward, and he is going to be wrestled down like he's a steer at about the 35-yard line, and that's where Christian Heritage will scrimmage.
Kind of looked like that. That was a kind of a high bulldog type tackle. We had a little boy for us that we used to call bulldog because he tackled up around the shoulders. That's where that one was too.
Absolutely, and you know, he there was no question then it wasn't a fair catch.
No.
He ran forward.
Usually they'll say it's a fair catch if you just scratch your nose. They're usually quick on the trigger to call a fair catch.
Four down lineman for the Darlington Tigers. Hand off to the fullback out of that I formation, and he is going to be out to about the 37-yard line. Might have a gain of 2. Somebody on Darlington comes out with the football. I think that's Rhett McDermott that came out of there, and the referees are saying, no, son, if you'll just hand that ball back to me, we'll get it back in the right spot. 2nd down and 8 for the Lions.
2nd down and 8.
Darlington up 28-7. 7.5 minutes to play here in the first half at the Lions Den on the beautiful campus of Christian Heritage School. We're up on the press box. Got a nice view of the surrounding area. Gentry under center. 4 seconds on the play clock. Hands it off to his fullback again, and he hits a wall of white and gets spun around, Eddie. He might have had 1 yard, and so 3rd and long for the Lions.
Well, if they give him a yard, I don't think they may give him a yard. It's kind of a mercy yard. He was just really jammed up in there. Nowhere to go.
Well, it's going to be 3rd and 6. The line to make for the Lions will be the 45-yard line, and the ball is on the 39. They gave him 2 on that one. Last score we had, Tryon 10, Mount Zion 7, a game we're watching closely. Zach Gentry in a shotgun, 2 wideouts to the near side. He's going to run this way to pass. He escapes the rush, nowhere to throw the ball, and finally he's just sacked. And Darlington's line just is making a life miserable for Zach Gentry. That was a big sack, a loss of about 8, and the Lions will be forced to punt again.
Well, it's the big guys chasing him. It's not little. We don't have little fast guys out there blitzing. It's just our 3 big linemen out there chasing him, and got Elijah Ball to go wide, and then he had to cut back in and just ran into the arms of Tate Ratledge.
Yeah, I think one of the Christian Heritage coaches is talking to one of the backs about how he's supposed to block, but he's very small. I don't think he's going to have an easy time blocking one of those Darlington
Well, I think
players.
they're by him so fast he doesn't have time to block him.
Here's the punt, and it's going to be a line drive end over end. It's going to hit the ground and roll down to the 29-yard line, make it 28-yard line of Darlington. And that was really, Eddie, a very good punt by Sid Reese of Christian Heritage.
He's had plenty of time to practice tonight.
He has. His leg is going to be awful tired tonight. And right now, too, as Darlington comes out on the field, we do want to recognize our ball boys that help keep the football dry and ready to go for the Darlington Tigers tonight. Brent Bell, and again, we had to clarify last week. We have Mr. Bell, the headmaster, Coach Bell, and we also have Brent Bell, Adam Robertson, and Miles Twyman. Griffin Brewster in a shotgun and mishandles the handoff, and Darlington falls on top of it. That is Colin Rogers, Eddie, and that's going to be a loss of about 3 back to the 25.
Well, Griffin just dropped that ball. It's you got to keep your concentration. This is, Nick Saban talks about the process, but it's the matter of always doing your best no matter what the situation. I think Darlington's just getting a little lackadaisical about things. They've got things pretty well in hand right now, but they've still got to play, and you've still got to show these guys respect.
2 wide outs to the far side, 1 to the near side. Brewster rolling to his right, has a man behind him, and he throws the ball incomplete, intended for Ian Payne. And Christian Kohnman, he dove in over on top of Ian Payne, and that's going to be incomplete. And Eddie, you know, you made the comment a minute ago, and you just look at all the different players, but when the tallest player on the field is playing safety, and that's just unusual.
Just not something you see, but he moves good, and he made a good cut on that ball that Griffin threw, and if Griffin hadn't have thrown it so low, he very well might have picked that off if it had been up and catchable.
3 wide outs to the far side, 1 to the near side. Brewster in a shotgun. He takes the ball, looks to his right, throws the ball complete to Tajay Watley on a bubble screen. Tajay Watley, 35, 40, cuts to the middle of the field, midfield, 45, 40, 40, 35, and I mentioned 40 twice, but he was at the 35. Or just lose sight of the yards there. He goes so fast, and he's twisting around, and he's going to be down at the 31-yard line of Christian Heritage. What a nice run after he caught it.
That was a well-executed screen pass, and he got the ball, and he just juking and jiving all the way down the field. Just impossible. He must be frustrating to play against.
Yeah, beautiful to watch. Just really amazing. Darlington 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line. Griffin Brewster hands it to Colin Rogers, and Colin Rogers, both arms around that ball, runs it off the left side, and he's going to be down to about the 24-yard line, and that's a gain of about 7.
Well, Darlington is just gashing Christian Heritage right now on these runs.
And this is sort of what we expected. Christian Heritage only scores 11 points a game. They've scored 7 tonight on that long kickoff return. Griffin Brewster in a shotgun, 2 wide outs to the far side, 1 to the near side, fakes it to Colin Rogers, and he's going to throw the ball complete to Tinkerbell at the 10, and he's going to be tackled at the 5, and a nice completion to your big tight end, Jacob Hunt, Eddie. It's just hard to defend that.
Just ran down there on a crossing route, and just really Griffin Brewster put it on the money. Just a good throw by Griffin, just a big time throw, a fine catch by Jacob. Just looking very efficient right now.
1st and goal at the 6. Brewster in a shotgun, wide out to either side, hands it to Colin Rogers, who cuts inside. Colin Rogers dives into the end zone, weaves his way through a couple of tacklers, and then dives into the end zone. And with 3:11 to play here in the first half, the Tigers extend the lead to 34-7, and right now Darlington's cooking.
Yeah, like I said, they're just looking very efficient. They're getting long gains on their runs, ripping off 8-9 yards at a time, and threw that crossing route down there to Jacob and just put it on the money to him on really a good throw by Griffin.
Christian Heritage gives up 37 points a game. Darlington just hit the 35 mark with 3:11 to play here in the first half. So 35-7 is our score, and we're going to send it back to Randy at WLAQ for a commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages. Back at the lines, Den in Dalton, Georgia. Darlington has just scored a touchdown to go up 35-7 with 3:11 to play here in the first half. Darlington gets the ball, Eddie, to start the second half.
Well, like I said, Darlington just very efficient on that last drive. No losses except for that one fumble back here, but other than that, they just drove it very methodically, gashed Christian Heritage on every play, threw a nice long pass, and just put it into the end zone.
Toe meets leather, high end over end kick comes down to Amanda at the 31. He is met head on at the 34, 80. I didn't see who that was, but boy, he just brought him to a complete stop at the 34, and that's where Christian Heritage will scrimmage.
Well, better him than Zach Gentry. They may start rolling it on the ground if they have to keep it away from Gentry again, because he's been troubled every time he's touched the ball.
He has been, and you know, one of the things again about Christian Heritage, this is the 5th meeting between Darlington and the Lions. Darlington has won all 4, but there's never a game where Christian Heritage quits. They play hard, they're well coached, and they're going to give you a good effort every game.
When you see a team give up on his coach, that's when it's time for the coach to go, and they're definitely not giving up. They're still playing their best.
Gentry, ball kind of comes out of his hand. That was a pass that's incomplete. Did not get it out here to Reese, and he bounced it to him, and that's going to be an incomplete pass. And that ball was snapped to him, and he bobbled it just a bit, threw the play off on its timing.
Well, just a pop pass out here, and just didn't handle it. It was right there.
All right, 3 minutes to play here in the first half. Stay tuned for the Steak and Shake halftime report tonight. Sponsored by Steak and Shake, Turner McCall, in Rome, Georgia. Darlington's one of Darlington's sponsors. We appreciate the sponsorship by Steak and Shake. I formation, Gentry under center. He's going to hand off to his fullback. His fullback's going to bull his way forward for maybe a yard and a half or 2 out to the 36, and the Lions will have a 3rd down, and we're going to make it about 8.
Steve, I think we may have about as much condensation here as we did the last time you played. My play sheet here is just like a limp napkin after it's been used for a buffet.
Yeah, we're up here on top of the press box up at Christian Heritage, and like you say, the all the papers now are starting to get real flimsy. Coleman, out to the far side. Gentry, he's going to take the ball. He's sacked. Tommy Atha is getting in on the fun, sacking the quarterback, and now it's going to be 4th down and long for the Lions. In the first half, the line will be the 29, and so that's going to make it a 4th and 15 for the Lions, and they will punt the football.
I note that Tommy is Tommy Atha, that little Tommy that made the tackle just then. In the Dalton paper today, it had Coach Atha's name is Timothy Atha. So if you see him, you might ask about that, why he's Timothy Atha now.
Yeah, we could even call him that on the radio.
That's right. I promised him I would.
All right, Reese, he's going to punt the football to Casey Gunn, and it's going to come down at the 44-yard line of Darlington and just roll sideways for about 15 yards out of bounds. So with 1:21 to play here in the first half, the Darlington Tigers will scrimmage from their own 44-yard line. So let's see what Darlington does here. You know, Eddie, the Tigers get the ball to start the second half, and you've got 2 timeouts left. Got plenty of time to get down and score.
Well, this is a good time to work on your 2-minute offense right here.
2 wide outs to either side. Tajay in the slot on this side. Griffin Brewster's looking to this side. Quick throw to Tajay Watley. Complete. He slips a tackler. He's running downfield, and finally he is going to be corralled from behind by number 55, Dwayne Jones. But he was just tiptoeing down the sideline, Eddie, after he slipped that one tackle. Good yardage deep into Christian Heritage territory.
Yeah, he caught that ball on that little out route over here, and just I thought he was going to step right out of bounds. Thought he made a mistake, but he picked up about 15 yards by keeping going.
He's out to the 35-yard line. Griffin Brewster has pressure. He's going to keep the ball. He's going to throw it to Carl Swiger right here. Wow, that was a heads-up play by Griffin Brewster, just flipping it out here, Eddie. And he did throw it as a lateral, even though he wasn't at the line of scrimmage, which would be a gain of about 2 for Darlington.
Well, even if he had been across the line of scrimmage, that would have been a legal play because he threw it behind him. Carl Swiger did a good job, and just a nice heads-up play by Griffin. I'm just really he's just really matured a lot this year. We've just seen it every week. That was a nice heads-up play. He actually had some yards in front of him. And
1:04 to play here in the first half. He stepped out of bounds, so the clock stopped. Brewster looks to his right. Now he's looking to his left. He's going to throw the ball to Tajay. Complete in between two defenders. Wow. Wow, Eddie, he just leaped up on the near sideline. He's knocked down at about the 5, and Darlington will have a 1st and goal, and that was between two defenders.
Now, that's just a flag route from his slot position there, and that's why you have to turn around and find the ball when you're a defender, because they were right there on him, but they didn't turn and see the ball. And Tajay went up there and made a great catch, and a good throw from Griffin, too. Again, he's really been on the money tonight.
1st and goal for Darlington at the 6. Griffin Brewster shotgun, and he hands the ball to Carl Swiger, who hesitates, then dances into the end zone. And Darlington will have another touchdown here with 38 seconds to left.
Like you said, he hesitated for just a moment, and then he took off and was gone, just right up the middle.
6-yard touchdown run for Carl Swiger. He's getting in on the scoring tonight. And Little is in for the point after. Here, the ball's down. It is up. It is going to be good. So with 38 seconds left to play in the first half, Darlington has broken the game open here in the second. Last score we had is that Tryon had a 10-7 lead on Mount Zion, and now Mount Zion is ahead 13-10.
Well, I wonder if they've scored 2 field goals, or if they got a touchdown and missed the extra point. If we weren't here tonight, that would be the game to see if you're interested in single A football, which I am. I love single A football. That's my favorite one to watch. It's just guys going both ways, and it's just old-time football.
Yeah, it really is, and you know, those are two very, very fine football teams. And, of course, Darlington barely got by Tryon 35-31 in that barn burner last week, and then lost in overtime 31-30 to Mount Zion. So the 3 evenly matched teams in the this northern sub-region here of 6A, and really go have some dogfights. Toe meets leather. Little is kicking the ball. Gentry's going to take it at the 20. He's coming upfield. He is slithering his way out to about the 35, and then he gets racked right there. And a late flag comes in, actually 2 of them.
Must have been some pushing and shoving. That was not in a, that was way away from the play.
It was 31 seconds to play here in the first half. If you're just joining us, Darlington gave up a kickoff return for a touchdown, 92 yards on the very first kickoff of the game. Christian Heritage was up 7-0. Then the Tigers recovered an onside kick at the 49-yard line of Christian Heritage. Griffin Brewster handed the ball off to Tajay, who turned around and flipped it back to him on a flea flicker, and he threw the ball to Ezra Barnett for a 49-yard touchdown, and we'd 7-7
with less than 30 seconds off the clock. By the way, they called holding on that. That wasn't.
All right, and now Christian Heritage hands off to the fullback, and he's got running room out to about the 30-yard line. There was a hold, and it took the ball back to the 25-yard line. That'll be a 5-yard gain for the Lions, and now Eddie Tryon has retaken the lead over Mount Zion 17-13.
Wow, great game.
Yeah, those back and forth games like that between two pretty evenly matched teams are really exciting in football, and that's going to be the end of the first half. So Darlington comes on the road to Dalton, and the Tigers put up 42 in the first half with a really great display of offense, particularly in the second quarter, and the Tigers are going into halftime up 42-7. We're going to send it back to WLAQ for the beginning of halftime. The Steak and Shake halftime report coming up. Don't go away.
to direct your attention to the end zone as they walk out onto the field. This is your Christian Heritage Lady Lions softball team. The Lady Lions had an amazing season this year. Let's introduce you to some amazing young women. Starting off, senior Laura Harris. Junior Aiden Coulter. Junior Macy Smith. Junior Abigail Willett. Sophomore Mackenzie Hoffman. Sophomore Ella McDonald. Freshman Tatiana Chiesa. Freshman Elisa Costello. Freshman Anna Humphreys. Manager Ainsley Atkins. Assistant head coach Chad Poteet. And your head coach Mike Leonard. The Lady Lions made it to the Sweet 16 of the Georgia High School Association State Playoffs again this year, just missing a chance to return to Columbus. We are so proud of this softball team and its coaches. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you, seniors, and we look forward to season next year. Also, as you make your attention to midfield, we get to announce this year's Elementary Spirit Award winner. Come on, please. This year's Spirit winner is Miss Hildebrand's 5th grade class. Come out onto the field and receive your award. Miss Hildebrand's 5th grade class. They had 75% of their class attend tonight's game. Round of applause to Miss Hildebrand's 5th graders. Congratulations, Miss Hildebrand's class.
Thank you, Randy. We're back at the Lions Den. Halftime up here at the Steak and Shake halftime report. And Eddie, we are looking at the statistics of the first half. Darlington broke the game open in the second quarter with 28 unanswered points to go up 42-7. But Griffin Brewster, 11 for 12 in passing tonight. Boy, he's really looked sharp with the football.
Very impressive. Made one heads-up play where he threw the ball out to Carl Swiger and made that one to Jacob Hunt on that crossing route downfield. Just a nice throw. He's really been solid tonight. Steve, I want to say one other thing about your wife. I missed having you when I worked the game without you when you were out with your ribs, but what was more that I missed was having Gina here to do these stats. She does such a good, solid job, and the thing is, the difference between you and me is we can read what she put down. I can read every one of these things on here.
Yeah, the executive producer does a good job of keeping up with everything, doesn't she?
She does do a great job. She deserves a lot of praise for the job she does, and just sits over there and does it patiently. And at halftime, she just gives us sheets. She doesn't keep up with the yardage, but she keeps up with all the other things. Griffin 11 for 12 passes completed. Darlington 7 first downs to 3 for Christian Heritage. Darlington hasn't punted. Christian Heritage has punted 4 times. Interestingly, Darlington 7 possessions and Christian Heritage 8 possessions.
And you know, one of the things interesting too tonight is the balance. Darlington with 12 rushing plays and 12 pass plays. And usually we're more likely to see Darlington with more running plays, but they've really done a good job tonight of letting Griffin get some more experience throwing the football, different patterns, different receivers.
Yes, they really have. I didn't realize it was so balanced like that, and they've been equally effective on passes and runs. Just been very efficient tonight. When they run the ball, they've gashed Christian Heritage for 8, 10, 12 yards or more every time, and when they pass the ball, Griffin has made solid passes, and our receivers have caught the ball. And that flea flicker, when Darlington's first play from scrimmage, I don't know if it is a difficult thing to throw and hit a guy who's that wide open to get it there, and he just laid it in right in his arms. He didn't have to break stride. Even if he'd had to check up and catch the ball, he'd have still scored, but Griffin just hit him right in stride. I can't say enough for how well Griffin has played tonight.
Yeah, I talked to his daddy, Mark, yesterday. I saw him, and we were talking that I was telling him just how great Griffin has played and looked this year, but he was talking about how hard he has worked, the different things that he's had to do. But you can tell as the season has progressed. Of course, we started at Gaston. The next week we had Ridgeland and 3 interceptions, but he came back against Heard County, had a good game, and has just gotten progressively better as the season has gone on. And that is really, really going to help Darlington down the road, but also help him in his confidence.
Yeah, he should have developed a lot of confidence, because he's really done well, and we've just seen him get better every single week. He's better tonight than he was last week. He was better last week than he was the week before. It's just been every game we've seen the progress that he's made, and that started out good and just gotten better and stronger as the season goes by.
You know, one thing too is as you get to the playoffs and the competition will stiffen up there. If a team keys on Tajay Watley, Griffin's experience as the season has gone on will make a huge difference in Darlington's offensive weapons and capabilities as we go forward.
Well, they have, and of course, Tajay is a good target when you throw the ball, and Jacob Hunt has just really come on and made some great catches. I remember those great clutch catches he made in the Bowden game. He's just really made some good catches this year as a tight end.
All right, and just a couple of other things. We'll go through the scoring, and as we mentioned before, Darlington kicked off to Christian Heritage. Gentry took the ball on a 93-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, and Dixon put up the point. We were 16 seconds into the game. Then Christian Heritage tried an onside kick. Darlington recovered that ball at the 49-yard line of the Lions. And on the first play from scrimmage, it was a flea flicker play. Griffin handed it to Tajay Watley, who turned around, pitched the ball back to Griffin. He hit Ezra Barnett for a 49-yard touchdown pass, and 26 seconds into the game, it was 7-7. And Christian Heritage ran 2 plays and fumbled the ball. And on the first play from scrimmage, a 21-yard touchdown pass from Griffin Brewster to Tajay Watley on a wheel route, and the 2-point conversion was no good. And the first quarter actually ended 13-7. Then in the second quarter, Darlington really got rolling. A 3-yard touchdown run by Tajay Watley and a 2-point pass. Griffin Brewster, we believe that was Rhett McDermott, and the score at that point was 21-7. Then Darlington got a 44-yard touchdown run by Tajay Watley, and the point after was good. A 6-yard run from Colin Rogers. Little put up the point, and Darlington was up 35-7. And then with just under a minute to play here in the first half, Carl Swiger on a 7-yard touchdown run. Little put up the point, and Darlington was up 42-7. Both teams lost one fumble. Darlington actually fumbled one ball and recovered their own fumble. Darlington has 4 sacks, and the Lions have no sacks. 4 penalties for 35 yards for Christian Heritage, and 1 penalty for 10 yards against Darlington. And I'm sure Coach Atha will be happy about that, trying to clean up those penalties.
Well, we need to get those penalties cleaned up before the play-in game and the playoffs start. So that's the big thing. Got plenty to work on this week, this upcoming bye week that we've got.
Yeah, bye week coming up for the Darlington Tigers. That'll be a much-needed bye week. Then 2 weeks from tonight, the region play-in game, which will be the last games of the regular season before the playoffs begin. Darlington up 42-7 over the Christian Heritage Lions as halftime continues up here in Dalton. We're going to send it back to Randy at the station for more commercial messages, and then come on back. We have the Steak and Shake halftime report continuing. Thank you, Randy. And the last score again that we had on the Tryon Mount Zion game, which is of interest to Darlington fans. Tryon 17, Mount Zion 13. Eddie, as of today, Darlington was rated number 10 in the private school rankings, and Christian Heritage was actually rated number 34. But the Tigers moving up after that victory over Tryon last week.
Well, that was no way to overstate the importance of that game, because our playoff future might have been in doubt had we lost to Tryon. But it was a hard-fought game. Tryon is a good team in Mount Zion, which Mount Zion struggled for so many years. It's kind of hard to believe that Mount Zion is as good as they are, but they are just a solid team. At one point, they may still be. They were ranked #1 amongst public schools in single A. So they've really got a good team this year.
They do have a good football team, and of course we remember that game back in 2012, which was the first time they had beaten Darlington, which was a really, really big game for Mount Zion. But they've really done a good job, and Darlington's had their hands full with Mount Zion over the past few years.
Well, they were just solid when Darlington played. We couldn't cover their receivers. They were behind us every time they ran a pass play. They were behind our corners and safeties, and we just couldn't stop them, and they were gashing us for long runs too. They really looked dominant. We had them down 17-0 at the end of the first half, and then they just came roaring back, and they were on us. And of course we took them to overtime. We finally stiffened up, and just a missed extra point in there that kept it from going on. We had a shot to beat them, but our normally very reliable kicker just banged it off the uprights. I can still hear that ball thump when it hit the uprights.
Yeah, the only extra point we've missed in 2 years, and just didn't come at a very good time. And as we go forward, ladies and gentlemen, again, we will not be broadcasting next week as the Tigers have a bye week, and then the next week is the play-in game. And Eddie, I was talking to somebody today, and the way that will work, I wasn't sure, but the way that it will work is the #1 team from the Subregion A, which is where we are, will play the #1 team from Subregion B, #2, #2, 3, 3, and on through that process. Of course, if Tryon beats Mount Zion tonight, I think Darlington ends up 3rd in the sub-region, or in the sub-region. It has to do with even though there will be a 3-way round robin, each team beating one of the others. It's a way that they do the tiebreakers. And Darlington would play the 3rd team from sub-region B. But if Mount Zion wins, I believe we end up #2 in the region or sub-region, and we would be playing, I believe, Mount Pisgah. But I'm not sure if that would be at Darlington or if that would be on the road.
Well, you know more of the details than I do, but I think if Tryon is able to beat Mount Zion, I think that not only for the play-in games determines our foe, but it kind of keeps us I think it'll keep us in the top 8 and make sure we get some home games in the playoffs too.
Yeah, and as we go forward, ladies and gentlemen, the in every classification but single A, the games for the playoffs are based on the top 4 in each region. But in single A, you have a power ranking system, and Darlington was 16th in the power ranking last week and moved up to #10 this week after the victory over Tryon. There will be 24 teams in the playoffs, and the top 8 teams in the power rankings in public and private schools in single A get a bye. So that first round of the playoffs, number 9 through 24 play. 9 through 16 get a home field, and 17 through 24 come and play them.
Right.
And then in the second week, then teams 1 through 8 host the winners of the first round.
Yes, it's really important to be in the top 8.
Yeah, anytime you can play at home. Of course, Darlington's historical record is playing very well on the road and at home, but it is a lot easier to stay in your rhythms and your patterns if you
have to make they're in single A with us, so possibilities early on. You could have to go down there and play them. That's an all-day trip.
Long drives. Halftime continues up here at Christian Heritage in the Lions Den. and we will try to pass along information to you as we get it about the Tryon Mount Zion game. Glad to have you with us tonight. If you're just joining us, Darlington broke the game open in the second quarter with 28 unanswered points, and the Tigers now lead the Lions 42-7 as halftime is coming to an end. And Eddie, I don't know the point break for a running clock here in the second half.
I would think so, and I think at this point they will ask the coach of Christian Heritage, does he want a running clock? And in the third quarter, I think it's his choice unless it's more points than this.
All right, halftime coming to an end. We're going to send it back to WLAQ for a 30-second commercial break, and then we'll come back to get ready for the second half. The Tigers will receive the football to start the second half, and don't go away. We'll be back in 30 seconds. All right, back here, ladies and gentlemen. Halftime winding down. Players for both teams coming out on the field. The Tigers kicked off to start tonight's game. Zach Gentry took the ball 92 yards for a touchdown on the kickoff, and the Tigers and Lions really got into it right away. We've had a big first half. Darlington broke the game open. As we said, 42-7. The Tigers will receive the football to start the second half. Darlington, to set the picture for you, and they're visiting white jerseys, purple numerals, white helmets, purple tiger paws, white pants, and they will be defending the west goal, going right to left on your radio dial. Christian Heritage, and their colors are maroon, black, and gold, and they are in their black jerseys, maroon numerals, white pants, gold helmets, and it says CH on the side. And again, as you mentioned, Eddie, before, the combination with the gold is somewhat unusual.
Well, just don't see that. That's not gold. That's yellow, and they actually look like Louisville's uniforms if they didn't have those awful helmets on there. Louisville has some cool uniforms.
All right, Christian Heritage will be going left to right on your radio dial as we begin the third quarter. Darlington will have three men deep. Tajay Watley in the middle. On this side is Ezra Barnett, and on the far side's Colin Rogers. And Christian Heritage's kicker, and let's see, I believe that's Joseph Dixon, number 16. Here he is. Toe meets leather. It's going to be an end-over-end kick. Short, comes down to a man at the 28. He dodges a couple of tacklers. That's Casey Gunn, Eddie, and he gets it out to about the 38-yard line. 10-yard return on the near sideline, and the Tigers will scrimmage from there.
Well, we've seen a lot of pooch kicks tonight. Christian Heritage is pooching the ball, and Darlington, after kicking that long kick that was run back for a touchdown, they've gone strictly to the pooch kick tonight.
All right, Griffin Brewster back in for the Tigers. Across the line, we have Colin Zazzaro, Austin Rogers, Jacob Daniel, Tate Ratledge, Elijah Ball, Jacob Hunt's the tight end. Handoff to Colin Rogers. He's running to the far side, 40, 45, and he is upended by a man who undercuts him at about the 47-yard line, but a nice 10-yard gain for Colin Rogers.
Well, just sweep out there to the back, standing back there with Griffin Brewster in that shotgun, and just gashed Christian Heritage. Now they've signaled it's the first down, so 10 yards on this first play of the second half.
Griffin Brewster in a shotgun. Colin Rogers right behind him. Carl Swigert on the line of scrimmage. Colin Rogers, he goes off right side behind Hunt, Ratledge, and Ball, and he's going to have a gain of about 6 or 7. He's going to be out to the 46-yard line of the Lions.
Well, Darlington's offensive line has just put the defensive line of Christian Heritage on roller skates, and they're just running them backwards as their feet can run, and just getting a lot of penetration.
10 minutes left in the third quarter. Darlington up 42-7. It looks like the Tigers would like to score a touchdown here on this possession, and I suspect at that point Coach Atha will start bringing in some of the younger players. Man in motion goes left to right, and that's Kellen Stepp, and it's going to be hand off to Colin Rogers. 40, 35, 30. Lost track right there. And he got down to about the 31-yard line. Right now, Darlington is gashing them with just running the football.
Well, just doing what they want to with them right now. I don't look for Griffin Brewster to be in after this series. And he's got all second line running backs out there with him.
And let's mark it. Dalton Stinson, the senior, is actually in for Elijah Ball right now, Eddie. So we've already got some younger players starting to come in for the Darlington Tigers. And Kellen Stepp is playing Griffin Brewster in a shotgun, and he's going to hand it off to Colin Rogers straight up the middle. And Colin Rogers busts his way down to about the 26-yard line. And the Tigers are just moving the ball. And now an entire group of younger players comes in. It's going to be a second down at about 6 for the Darlington Tigers. Make it 5.
I see Tyson Doherty in.
Hayden
Collier
Shin is in.
yeah.
Hayden Shin's come in at quarterback for the Darlington offense, and he's going to hand it to Colin Rogers, and Colin Rogers dances his way inside. Well, it looked like he was inside the 25, but they mark it just outside the 25, so it's going to be third down, Eddie, and about 5.
Well, we're not quite getting quite the surge with these younger guys in there that we were with the starters in. So some of this long yardage on first and second down is kind of curtailed somewhat now.
All right, Blake Collier is in there on the offensive line. We're going to call him out as we get the numbers. Hayden Shin, the shotgun, hands it to Colin Rogers. Colin Rogers had 2 men shoot up on the outside, and they bring him down for a loss. And Darlington will have a fourth down and about, let's see, mark it about 6. The line to make is the 21 on this fourth down play.
Well, Christian Heritage able to get some penetration against these younger guys and sweep out there and just too much penetration, tackled him in the backfield, nowhere to go.
Blake Collier in on the line. Tyson Doherty, I see him. Number 55, Cade Brock. He is playing center. Fourth down and about 6 for Darlington. The line to makes 21. Hayden Shin's back to throw. Incomplete over the head of the intended receiver. He got it with his hand, Eddie. Just knocked it with his hand. That's Carson Swiger, who was out there on as a wideout, and incomplete, and the Tigers will turn the ball over.
Well, just a little bit high on that throw. Nice throw, nice arm, but just a little bit high, and Carson not able to bring it down.
All right, so the ball goes over on downs, and we do have a running clock here. 6:33 to play here in the third quarter. Darlington up 42-7 if you're just joining us. And it's been all Darlington after about the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. Gentry under center. Coleman out as a wideout, and he hands it off to the fullback, and he gets into the middle of the line. Darlington still has a lot of starters on the defense, Eddie, and I suspect they'll start getting some reserves in. And here they come, just a flood of people coming in off the
I believe
sideline
they just
now.
substituted 11 players, Steve. I think every single one of those guys that were out there have just come out. I see Frank.
Yeah, we got one. We don't even have a number 42 on our list here, but number 42 for Darlington. Let's see. We've got Mitch Crago out here. Gentry on the pitch to the tail. And, boy, he is met right there by Luke McDermott. Excuse me, that's Dawson Williams, number 25. Dawson Williams just put the wood to him, Eddie, and stood him up. And after a gain of about 2.
Dawson Shagg is one of the guys of the future. And, of course, we had Dawson Shag back back when he was a little boy and played for us, and he's a lot of potential. I'm excited to see him get some playing time, and I can't wait to watch him as he gets older and see what he does.
Yeah, we have Luke McDermott back here at a safety spot. And Gentry, he's in a shotgun formation. He's going to bring the ball rolling to his right, looks back to his left. He's going to throw the ball complete on a screen pass, running room over there. And that was Luke McDermott, Eddie, that flew over there and tackled him. He did get a first down, but Luke stood him up and made a nice tackle over there on the far side. First down for Christian Heritage.
Well, Luke is a young guy and a small guy, but got a big heart, really plays hard like his brother Rhett, who's one of the starters this year.
And he flies to the ball. He just flies to the ball. Let's see who else we've got out there. We've got Frank Manning over here at a linebacker spot. Good to see Frank having an opportunity to get out there on the field. And again, we mentioned Mitch Crago, Gentry rolling to his right. He's being pursued by several people. Frank gets blocked, and now number 45 for Darlington knocks him out of bounds. That is Kobe Nadu, and he's going to get called for a late hit out of bounds. But
I think that was kind of a cheap call. He was really still in bounds when he hit him. I think that's
it was, and you know, you got guys they're so enthusiastic, and you really love to see them out there.
Well, yeah, I think that was a sympathy call on the part of the refs for Christian Heritage that time.
All right, Hampton Watkins is out there. Carson Swiger is out there. Cade Brock, as we mentioned, Frank Manning, Mitch Crago, number 42. We don't know who that is, but he's out there for Darlington. And just great opportunity for a lot of these younger players to get out there. Gentry under center. It's a wing eye. He's going to hand it off to the fullback. Great play, Eddie, by the middle guard, the lineman there, number 55, Cade Brock. He just dove right up in there and grabbed him as he came through and tackled him right at the line of scrimmage, which was the 33.
That was Burke Scrimsher in on the tackle, too, number 61.
Yeah, Burke Scrimsher, freshman for Darlington this year. So all these guys getting extra time. Gentry, he is under center, rolling to his left. He's going to throw the ball in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Coneman. And that was Joseph Ingram, Eddie, on the coverage over there, the senior, getting some playing time over there. And it's going to be incomplete. It's going to be third down at about 10.
Well, Coleman kind of lost his concentration when he heard Ingram coming up there on him and hit him about the same time as the ball got there, but it certainly a catchable ball and just bounced out of his hands.
All right, Gentry's going to be under center, third and 10. He's in that wing eye formation. Darlington with 4 down linemen. A lot of young guys getting an opportunity to play here in the third quarter at Christian Heritage. They're going to run a reverse. And, oh, what a great play, Eddie, over here by Mitch Crago. He stayed at home, read it, and he drops him before he gets to the first down marker. It was a gain of about 7, but that was a really nice play.
Nice tackle by Crago. Reverse coming towards us over here on the home side and running, and Crago just got out there, broke down in good position, and made a nice tackle.
All right, it's going to be fourth down and about, let's see, let's mark it. The ball is at the 27. The line to make is about the 23 and a half, so we got at 3.5, and they're going to go for a field goal. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line, and the ball is down. It is up. It is going to be just short. But Joseph Dixon, Eddie, he's got a nice leg.
He does. I thought that got through. He couldn't have missed it more than a foot or so, because from here you couldn't tell. But the referee signaled it short, and now it's a dead on 45-yard kick, and almost had the leg to get there.
All right, Darlington up 42-7. If you're just joining us, running clock here at Christian Heritage. The Lions give up 37 points a game. Darlington has scored 42. A missed field goal, that time by Joseph Dixon. It was a 45-yard attempt, and he missed it by about a yard. So he's got a nice leg And Darlington now will scrimmage from their own 20-yard line. And let's see who's coming out at quarterback for Darlington.
I think
Eddie,
it's Frank Manning, isn't it?
Is that Frank?
It looked like 14 when he ran out there.
All right, and
yep, that
yes,
looks
it
like
is
Frank. We
Manning.
can tell because he carries his fakes out so well.
Boy, Frank Manning, his technique is the best around. He runs that fake out. He ran that fake out 10 yards.
Yep, just as hard as he could run.
All right, and that's going to be a handoff, a loss of about 3, and we're inside the 30-second mark of the third quarter. But it's a great opportunity for Frank to get a chance to play.
I think they're going to
tonight.
let the quarter run out. They're just kind of standing there, and we're down to 13 seconds.
Yeah, and you know, you sometimes forget how slowly a football game can go, but then you forget how fast it can go with a running clock. All right, and that is going to be the end of the third quarter. So the third quarter is behind us. The Lions and Darlington still at 42-6. We'll send it back to WLAQ for a 1-minute commercial break, and we'll be back for the fourth quarter. Don't go away. All right, back here at Christian Heritage, the Lions Den, Tryon 20, Mount Zion 13.
Wow.
So Tryon, the Bulldogs are really giving Mount Zion all they can handle. Stay tuned for the Honeymoon Bakery icing on the cake player of the game will be announced tonight at the end of tonight's football game, and it will be announced on the Steak and Shake halftime report. And Eddie, we're just about ready to get where we're going to have to start wringing our papers out.
Well, this reminds me, years ago I went to a place called Luther's Barbecue with a guy named Mark Braden, and they had all-you-can-eat ribs, and Mark had about 10 plates of ribs and used the same napkin throughout, and you could just about see through that napkin when he got done, and that's the way our papers are getting tonight.
All right, it's going to be a handoff to Colin Rogers. Frank Manning as quarterback runs out his fake as always. Rogers off the left side, and let's see where he gets knocked down, Eddie. He's got a gain of about 3 out to about the 21-yard line, so the Tigers will have a third down and about 9.
Maybe we get to see Frank throw the ball here.
Yeah, that really would be nice. You know, he hasn't had as much playing time as some of the others. Just a wonderful young man. Darlington, third down and 9, up 42-7, running clock here at Christian Heritage. Frank Manning in a shotgun formation, wide out to either side, and he hands off to Colin Rogers, and Colin Rogers is upended off the left side, and he's out to about the 24. Let's see where they mark it, and the Tigers will have a fourth down, and I believe that Darlington's going to punt the football.
Looks like it. You know, Steve, the coaches want the clock to move fast. The starters want the clock to move fast, but these young guys out here, they're wishing they would stop that clock and run it like the rest of it so they could get as many plays in as they can. I know it's frustrating that the clock just runs so fast and they don't get as much time out there as they would like.
Tate Ratledge in the punt for Darlington. Nice kick. It's going to come down to the man at the 43-yard line. He runs up, crosses over midfield. He's going to be tackled at about the 46-yard line of Darlington. A couple of flags come flying in, and they will stop the clock for that. And I'm reminded of that game up in our Murchie where Darlington was ahead 38-0 at the half, and the umpire came over. I was doing stats that night. He comes over and he says, I am not going to throw a flag unless somebody commits a felony in the second half.
I remember that game, and I also remember that in that same game, the clock was it was really late in the fourth quarter, and we had a referee that wanted to throw a penalty on something you never see called. I can't remember what it was, and you could just see the other referees bodies dropped when he was calling those things, and they had no choice but to mark it off and stop the clock, and the referees were ready to get off the field that night too.
It's a block in the back against Christian Heritage. Yeah, I remember that one referee just kept throwing that flag on about 4 or 5 consecutive plays, and
I thought we were going to see a referee aside by the other referees.
Gentry had a shotgun, 3 wide outs to the far side, 2 to the near side, and he's going to throw complete. And that's not actually Gentry. That's number 12, Matthew Neff, the junior. He throws complete to a man on the seam, and he is going to have first down. But that was a complete to number 6, Drew Clements.
Well, he's showed a pretty good arm there. He put that ball right on there, and he's pretty well covered with 2 guys out there on an out route. And just really hit him right there. Darlington brings him down immediately.
2 wide outs to either side. Neff back to throw, looks to his right, throws incomplete, and he had pressure brought on him by number 42. And again, we don't have him on our list, but if you are listening and you are related to number 42, we are very happy that we have the opportunity to call his number out tonight on the Darlington Christian Heritage game.
He may have even tipped that ball as it went out there. I couldn't tell for sure, but it really got up in the air and was coming on hard.
Jacob Daniel came in on the defensive line. Neff takes the ball. He's in a shotgun, looks downfield, nothing there, and he just tucks the ball down, and he's going to be out to about the midfield stripe for a 3rd down. And about 8, the line to make is the 42, 8:30 to play in the football game. Darlington up 42-7.
Darlington's young guys doing a good job of coverage on there because there's really nowhere for him to throw to. And now I see Gentry coming back out there.
You know, really expected Neff to be at quarterback tonight because he's the leading passer for Christian Heritage according to their statistics. But this is the first time we've seen him. Neff with the ball, pressure, running, 50, and he is going to be tackled. That was a nice tackle over there, Eddie, by number 11, Hayden Shin.
Now, I think that was number 6, Steve. They made that tackle.
All right, well, it might have been Tyler Watkins
nice
over there on the far side. And it's going to be a 4th down for Christian Heritage, 7:30 to play in the football game. 4th down, the line to make is the 42, and the ball's on the 47, so it's 4th and 5. Neff, he's looking to his left. He's going to throw the ball complete to Gentry, 40. Gentry shakes a couple of people, and he's going to be down at the 38-yard line. And the referee signals timeout, but of course we have a running clock here in the 4th quarter. Darlington up 42-7. Senior night here at Christian Heritage. They may not have another home game. Nobody will really know where they're going to be until the play-in games are settled.
This is about the 2nd or 3rd senior night we've been at. At North Cobb Christian, it was senior night.
We had senior night at Darlington last week. Neff rolling to his right, looking downfield, and he's going to throw the ball complete. I believe that's, let's see, is that Gentry? No, that's another player. And he came back for that football, Eddie. Nice gain here of about 6.
Well, whoever number 42 is for us was being held blatantly on that play. They just had a hold of him and hold of his shoulder pads, and he was trying to rush the passer, but no flag.
All right, and we're going to give them, well, let's give them 5 yards down to the 33-yard line of Darlington. The line to make is the 28, 6 minutes to play in the football game. 8 seconds on the play clock. Neff in a shotgun formation, 2 wide outs to either side. Looking downfield, he's going to throw the ball long, and it's going to be complete to Coleman. Coleman just jumped up, Eddie. He is taller than the Darlington defender, Thomas Speed, the freshman, and he just jumps up and grabs it, and he's going to be down at the 9.
He was about 4 feet over the top, as high as Thomas could reach, and he was about 4 foot up above him, and Thomas really didn't have much of a chance on that one.
I have to tell you, I'm very impressed by Coneman, Christian Coneman, the senior, but he is really a good athlete. 3 wideouts to the far side, 1 to the near side, looking to Coneman, and he's going to throw the ball complete over Thomas Speed. Touchdown for the Lions, and again, just size.
Yeah, just a high pass. He got out there on a shorter guy, and Thomas just didn't have a chance.
8-yard touchdown pass from Neff to Coneman. And Thomas Speed jumped up and tried to knock it down, but, there's just so high you can go when you have a guy that tall.
Without a step ladder, he needed one then to get up that high.
All right, 42-13 is the score here, and the ball is down. It is up, and Joseph Dixon puts the ball through, and now Christian Heritage has cut the lead from 42-7 to 42-14. Running clock here. And we're just going to let it go run with us here. And stay tuned for the Steak and Shake post-game report. Be coming up at the end of tonight's game, and the Honeymoon Bakery icing on the cake player of the game. All right, Christian Heritage coming out to kick the football to Darlington. And Darlington up 42-14, 3:45 to play. And up here on top of the press box, it's still a beautiful view. It's really nice, 42-14. And so the Darlington Tigers have this game in hand. Dixon, toe meets leather, and it's going to be an end-over-end kick. It's going to bounce, and I think Darlington did get it, Eddie. Christian Heritage was fighting for it.
I don't know how we got it because Christian Heritage player just came flying in. Looked like they'd made a good play, and we were a little late. Was that Dawson Shag over there covering that ball? But
I think so. Darlington did get it. 3 minutes to play in the football game. Time is dwindling down here. The hourglass is running out as Darlington has been in control of this game completely since the middle of the first quarter. And a lot of younger players have gotten an opportunity to come in and play tonight. And you always like to see that. And especially, Eddie, when you think about how hard they work all the time. And they just don't get to play a whole lot, so it gives them an opportunity to get in here. And it's going to be a handoff to number 23 for Darlington, who just scoots down on the speed sweep, and that is Luke McDermott. And, boy, he elbowed the Christian Heritage tackler and knocked him down, but he ran from the 38-yard line of Darlington to the 37-yard line of the Lions.
That's the second time this year Luke has surprised me with his speed. I guess we shouldn't be too surprised. He scored earlier in the year.
Yeah, against Gaston.
Yeah, against Gaston, and it showed us some speed there and showed some speed tonight when he gets a chance.
38-yard line to the 38-yard line. Luke McDermott again on the far sideline. Luke McDermott knocked out of bounds at about the 27-yard line, 28. So a gain of about 10, and boy, he's just really scooting down there on that speed sweep.
Well, he's making the most of his opportunity. I think they ought to give it to him again.
Well, they say stepped out at the 32-yard line. It's a gain of 6. And so 1:18 to play in the football game. Tigers up 42-14. If you're just joining us, Darlington blew the game open with 28 points in the second quarter and never looked back. And it's going to hand off to Luke McDermott. Luke McDermott 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown as he slides into the end zone just inside the pylon, Eddie. And Luke McDermott on a 32 2-yard touchdown run for the Darlington Tigers, and it's going to be called back on a penalty. But boy,
man,
he got out here and made a great run.
He did make a great run, and just Frank Manning just give him the handoff. He was lined up to the left of Frank and just comes from the left to the right out here, and I think he wanted to sweep it, but he had to cut it inside off tackle and just made a great run. Just speed, maneuverability, shiftiness, just nice run by Luke that's going to be called back. I hate that for him.
Holding at the 22, moves it back to the 32 where he started. So Darlington now will have a second down.
This is probably going to be the last play
in
of
about
the game right
4,
here.
yeah, probably so. We're about to hit the 30-second mark. Luke McDermott in the backfield, one wide out to either side, hands it to Luke. Luke cuts it up the middle, weaves into the middle of the field, and he's going to have a first down and be tackled at the 24-yard line. But that appears like that will be the last play of the game. As Darlington will never be able to get people out to snap that ball. So, okay, 42-14, the Tigers winning tonight over Christian Heritage. Stay tuned for the post-game report sponsored by Steak and Shake and the announcement for the Honeymoon Bakery icing on the cake player of the game. We'll send it back to WLAQ for commercial messages, and then we'll be back for tonight's wrap-up.
A young King Cotton Horn.